I got to tell you, it's one of the first signs of spring for me here in La Belle Province when the PGA Tour begins the Florida swing. We've left California in the rearview mirror, and here we are now. Pleasure to be joined by one of the good ones. It's Yohann Benson from PGA National in the Palm Beach area. Yohann, what's up?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good, man. Look at that. Where are you? I mean, look at that. For those that are watching on YouTube, thank you. Good afternoon, Yohann. If you can describe where are you?
I'm on the driving range at PGA National. It's the good old Honda Classic, now called the Koenigsegg Classic
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
Cognizant Classic. Nobody can pronounce it right. And then, yeah, I'm here broadcasting for RDS. And obviously, I help out Mark Hubbard quite a bit too with his game. So he just finished, shot 3 under par. And then, as you can see, it's an absolute perfect day. No wind, which is very rare in South Florida. So we're located in Palm Beach Gardens. We're about 15 minutes north of West Palm Beach and about an hour north of Fort Lauderdale, where a lot of Canadians are. So yeah, so we're here and very, very nice weather. And then it's warm today, clear, almost 30 degrees, and
Yeah.
then perfect playing conditions for the golfers. That's
Well, I
why
know
the scores are so low this morning.
some of the Canadians, the Montreal Canadiens, who just finished up their recent homestand, are in Florida tonight at 7 o'clock. For those
Yeah,
watching in real time today, and then they're off to Tampa Bay on Saturday. And they were all talking after practice yesterday about it's 27 degrees. They want to go to the beach. They want to have fun.
yeah.
The Florida swing, for us Canadians that are stuck here in the winter, it's a real thing. Enjoying a little slice of paradise to break the winter up, man.
Yeah, and it's a big swing for the professional golfers too, because now with all the elevated events, there's a lot of guys that have Corn Ferry Tour status that graduated to the PGA Tour, that got their cards for the PGA Tour in 2024, and
Yeah.
because of all the elevated events on the West Coast, they didn't get to play much. So it's a big week for a lot of guys to kind of start their season. They're going to get to play Bay Hills, an elevated event too, next week, but there's the Puerto Rico alternate event. So at least most guys are going to be able to play this week, next week, and sort of build some sort of momentum
Right.
for the remainder of the summer. Because the West Coast swing was very, very hard, not only weather-wise for a lot of the golfers, but a lot of the bottom tier golfers, they didn't get to play at all.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, um, obviously with the big story going with Live Golf, and now they're playing with their third event of their season, and Anthony Kim is a wild card entry, and he's going to be a wild card for them, meaning that he's not part of their team dynamic. So anything he does obviously doesn't count towards the team because he's not a member of one yet. So we'll see what he does. It's one of the biggest stories to go, and I wonder what the chatter is before we get into the Anthony Kim storyline. Johann's joining us from the range at the Cognizant Classic at PGA National. Are guys even talking about Anthony Kim? Are you hearing anything about Liv? I mean, the PGA leaderboard versus what a lot of people are probably going to watch a little bit of Liv just out of curiosity. Are guys talking about it today?
Yeah, I mean, not as much as in the past. It's a topic, but it's not a big topic this week. Like I
Yeah.
said, most of the top players aren't here. Rory's here. He played this morning and he did very well. Other than that, there's not a lot of really world class players here at the Cognizant Classic. So guys are interested though on seeing how AK is going to do.
For sure.
He's played a bunch of golf. The reason why he was injured, but he had an insurance, a little bit like Carey Price. It's very similar. He had an insurance and was sitting at home making a decent living by not playing. So that's why he was never coming back. But now, obviously, the live offer was better than the offer he had insurance-wise staying at home. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, he's a hell of a talent, but I mean, he hasn't played for 10 plus years. So I'm sure he's going to be a little rusty, but I'm sure he's going to figure it out because he's played a lot of golf in the last few years, few months, few weeks at home in the western side of the United States.
What's your feel about what the future has in store? You know, Liv seems to be picking up momentum. The Anthony Kim story is going to be interesting. If it hits, it's going to be massive. If this guy, by some crazy occurrence of him going on a heater, like wins on Saturday, to close out the live event. Obviously, it's going to be stratospheric.
Yeah.
But in terms of and a lot of ratings chatter about PGA leaderboard not looking so strong. I mean, what's your feel about the live circuit, PGA circuit, and ultimately what the future has here?
Well, nobody knows where we're going. That's the hard part. Like even the players board on the PGA Tour don't really know what's going on. If there will be a fusion, if live guys will be allowed to play again on the PGA Tour. There's a lot of players that said no to big amount of money in the last few years to stay loyal to the PGA Tour. So whoever left to go play live, they're going to have to pay some sort of compensation or have to go through Q school or figure out a way. But I think the format of the live tour is going to have to be changed to 72 holes, walking, regular tee times, a little more conventional. In order for them to get world ranking points to welcome their players back into the majors and the big events.
Have you watched any? Out of curiosity, have you watched any of the live product this year? I've actually watched the two events. I've watched a good chunk of it, and there's some areas of the broadcast I'm not big on. For example, listening to the commentators, including David Feherty, continually pump up the league within the broadcast.
Yeah.
The product on the PGA Tour is so sharp with the on-course reporting and everything else. There's a drop off on the live side, but Yohann, on the positive, man, they show a lot of action. They show a lot of shots. They bounce around. I love the stats and the graphics. What's your read on what you've seen so far?
Well, I've watched it a little bit, but very sporadically. If I have a good friend that's in the lead or close to the lead, I'll watch. I'm more a fan of the traditional type of broadcast on the PGA Tour. It's very hard to show a lot of players because they're all playing in a row. The nice thing with having a shotgun start is you just have camera towers on every hole. But now they're showing it. The PGA Tour has gone a little bit that way. You have the ESPN Plus app in the United States that you can watch basically all the groups from the morning from the camera towers. So it's not as good as the international broadcast that you see in the afternoon or the Golf Channel broadcast, but it's decent. I'm more of a conventional, and I feel, with all the changes, with all the elevated events, I feel bad for like the average Joe on the PGA Tour that basically doesn't get to play that much anymore.
No, it's tough. And it's tough with especially, like you said, you talk about the elevated events, the condensed schedule, trying to get into and trying to win as much money as you possibly can. And they're just all over the place. I mean, coming off of Adanta and playing the Mexico Open and everything else. And now here we are again talking about what's happening with Liv and Anthony Kim. And, before we get to Talor Gooch and his comments and your reaction to his perspective on the Masters and being snubbed and not getting the invite he feels he richly deserves. I mean, what do you expect? Are you expecting anything? Where's the bar set for you, Yohann, when it comes to Anthony Kim and his return to golf after, as you said, more than 10 years away from it professionally?
I think it's going to take a while for him to, like he's played money games at home and stuff like that, but it's not the same thing. Although playing on the live, there's no cuts. You're guaranteed to make money.
Yeah.
So there's a big deal of pressure that is not there when you play on the live tour compared to playing for your livelihood. And if you don't make the cut, you don't get paid. But the elevated events for most of them don't have any cuts now. Like both tours are kind of trying to copy each other. But he's a incredible player.
Yeah.
He's had injuries and he's had problems off the course. So I'm glad that he's back. And I'm very interested in seeing how he does. But as far as how he's going to do, I have no idea. But I'm very interested in finding out.
I mean, I hope you all enjoying watching Yohann Benson standing on the range at PGA National.
There's Corey Connors right there.
Yeah, and how did he go off today? He was what, two under 69, huh?
I didn't see where he finished, but he was three
Yeah,
under at some point today, and that's the Danny Saul is caddies from Edmonton. Danny's an excellent player. He won on the Canadian Tour back in,
look
I'm
at
going to
that.
say 2010-ish.
Yeah.
And yeah, Corey lives close by. He's about 15 minutes away.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's nice to have him here. He
Yeah.
hasn't played this event in a few years, so it's nice to have Corey here. And we got four more Canadians: Taylor Pendrith, who just teed off.
Hmm.
There's Ben Silverman, Adam Svensson, who's on the course as well this afternoon,
Yeah.
and Michael Gligic, who played this morning. He's just about to get done. He Monday qualified in the event, and I mean, all of them basically live really close by, so it's really nice to all have him here and to get to follow them.
Yeah, no, the Canadians, they're here. We're not going away. It's not just
And
there's a
this is
Canadian
this
in the
is
field.
a this
You
is a
know?
super popular event for French Canadians.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of French Canadians in the crowd. That Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Hallandale is the hub, if you want, in Florida for French Canadians. So, yeah, they're out in full force, and then the crowds are okay this morning. Now that Rory played this morning and he's gone,
Right.
I don't expect really big crowds this afternoon. But tomorrow afternoon, when Rory's going to be here, especially if he's in the hunt, it's going to be a really the classic here. They've done a great job. They're in a terrible spot in the schedule. It's usually after Tiger's event, before Bay Hill, before the Players, but they've done such a good job on the spectator aspect. I mean, there's bars everywhere. It's a lot of fun. It's a very relaxed event. It's very affordable. Kids under 15 is free. So you see a lot of kids out here on the weekend, and they've done a tremendous job running this event despite the lack of world-class players over the last few years.
Yeah, nice to see too. Ben Silverman, as you mentioned, in the field, and I think he
Yeah,
went off maybe half an hour ago. He
yeah,
he had a nice showing on Saturday at Vedanta. Nice to see
he
him on the front
did.
page of the leaderboard there for a second. And as we mentioned already, Canadian golfers are only growing. Seeing someone Brandon Lacoste,
He's
great.
right here too. Brendan's right here somewhere in the crowd.
Yeah,
He's here.
he threw one round of the qualifying. He's moving on, I believe. Last
He
I
is. He,
saw.
he got through the pre-qualifier yesterday.
So what's
Uh,
next then for someone like him, Yohann? Can you walk me through that process quickly?
So now with because there's so many people trying to Monday qualify for PGA Tour events, a lot of times the week prior they'll have either on Wednesday or Thursday they'll have a pre-qualifier at two or three sites, and usually the top 15, 20 players get through, which Brandon did yesterday, and then now he's got to go play the Monday qualifier, which will be with other tour guys that don't have a good enough status to get in the event. Although next week is the Puerto Rico qualifier, so basically anybody with a status on the PGA Tour will get in Puerto Rico. So Brendan's going to be playing against a player of his caliber, a few older tour guys, or guys that are in the non-exempt category, and then usually there's four spots. So if you get one of those four spots, he's going to be playing in the Puerto Rico Classic next week.
That's great. What'd you make of the whole Charlie Woods situation, the hubbub around Charlie Woods opening round? Obviously, a little 86 there. He's got
Yeah,
entourage, and people were going crazy for this. I mean, he's Tiger's son. I
correct.
get it, but there has to be a reality check somewhere.
Yeah, I mean he's a very good junior player, but I mean junior golf right now is so strong compared to when Tiger played,
Right.
20, 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago. Um, but I couldn't believe that they sent people from the PGA Tour to go cover the qualifier. I'm
Yeah.
sure Tiger wasn't very happy with that. You need to leave the kid alone. He is. You don't want him to become a media attraction. Or like an animal in a circus. Like I've watched him play at the PNC last December. He's a
Yeah.
great golfer. He's just coming into his own. He's got a great work ethic. He's a 14, 15-year old. Like he gets upset and he's a very, very good golfer. People have to relax a little bit and stop comparing. I mean, he's 15 or 14 or 15 years old. I'm not sure, but you can't start comparing him
Yeah.
against his dad. I mean, his dad was a prodigy, and I mean, we'll never see another Tiger Woods again. And then Tiger brought better golfers now. So I mean, guys are all fit. Guys, they practice more. They eat right. So the caliber of golfer right now is way better than when
Yeah.
Tiger played, and is extremely better than when Jack played. So like there's 15 or 20 Tiger Woods right now on the PGA Tour. So people just have to relax and leave the kid alone a little bit.
Yeah, but golf's an interesting place these
It
days, man.
is.
It's not dying down anytime soon. Constant division, constant comparisons between Live League, PGA Tour. Are they screwing over the DP World Tour, for example? I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much infighting going on and so much complaining about former PGA players that jumped over for the money, but yet still want some of the benefits that come with playing on the PGA Tour, even though they're
Yeah.
not card members anymore. I mean, is
That
there part of you, Yohann, as the golf journalist, the professional player, the fan? Are you annoyed by the Talor Gooch comments of the world or speculation about
well,
Rory McIlroy
I
jumping? I mean, where are you
I
at?
think that just like Rory said in his press conference yesterday, I think that the whoever asked Taylor the question led him down that path.
Right.
But Taylor's been one of the most boisterous player that took the money, went to live. He knew what was gonna happen, and for some reason, he's one of those that is the most boisterous. Like I said, about not being able to play in big events. Well, you knew the deal when you signed for live, um, so as a Joachim Neiman, uh, he's playing all over the world to try to collect world ranking points.
Right.
Taylor is not trying to do that. So I think the Masters took that into consideration when they offered Joachim Neiman, who Joachim left for the live, didn't say a word.
No.
He's minding his own business. So I think the guys who are the most boisterous will have the tougher path back.
Well, even to a certain extent, like even listen to John Rahm's comments with was it Marty Smith of ESPN? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like it was money, it was life changing, and it was, and I actually, I was bothered by the Rahm hypocrisy about the heel turn so quickly. And then when he said that if he didn't win the green jacket, he probably never would have left. And you know what? When you put
Mm.
that much money in front of someone and they already have hit, the bucket list of all bucket lists, I mean, who can fight the guy? Who can blame the guy
Correct.
for wanting to leave, right?
And John's going to invest a lot of that money that he's getting from Live for junior programs in Spain. So,
Right.
like John is not going to spend for knowing the guy. Like obviously he's going to buy himself some nice stuff and all that, but a lot of that money will be put in very good use for charities or junior events, or he will be one of those guys that will give back a great amount of what he's gotten, and you can only applaud him for that. But he knows what he did. He knows what he chose to play now, and but for a golf fan, it's bad because the talent is diluted every week.
Right.
But man, the majors are going to be awesome when Augusta rolls around and all those guys are together again. It's going to make for great, great, great television. And for me being on site at the Masters, it's going to be awesome to see all those guys together and to really see all the best players together.
That's great. I'm gonna, of course, you can always look up Yohann on his Facebook page. You can find him online, Instagram, and I still call it.
Instagram, Twitter, I got it all.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're you're going to be in the Florida area, always look up Yohann. He's always teaching in Florida
Yeah,
during the
I
winter
teach.
months. So
I teach about 30 minutes south of here at Indian Spring Country Club. It's a very popular club. It's a private club, very popular with French Canadians. But I'm allowed to have non-members as students, so it's really not a problem for me to have anybody at Indian Spring.
I love it, and I'll let you go on this. I know you're close with the Mark Hubbard. You caddied for him for a stretch on tour and everything else, and he's having a great start to the season. He had a T4 at Pebble. He had a T20
Mm-hmm.
at the Farmers. He showed up at Vedanta. Anyway, he's T23rd last I looked at the leaderboard. I know he's off. He's off now, but how's his game? He's 34 years old. Looks like he's found. Looks like he's found some consistency, Yohann.
Yeah, his ball striking is way superior to when I caddied for him. He's way more mature than when I caddied for him, and yeah, he's. I mean, I love him to death. He drives me nuts, but I love him to death. But I mean, we have such a great relationship, and I'm
Right.
so proud of what he's become. He's a dad now. He's solo this week. His wife's not here with his two daughters, but no, it's fun. It's fun because we get to hang out. We went to dinner every night so far. I might kidnap him for the hockey game tonight, but
Nice.
I'm not sure if he wants to go because he's still, he had to wake up really early this morning for a 7 o'clock tea time.
Mm.
But it's so fun to. I'm very, very, very grateful to be able to be out here on tour, talking to the guys and for having spent so much time out here and playing with most of these guys.
Yeah.
Uh, what makes me the proudest in all of that is the pride that the players and caddies have in how my career has become.
Mm.
They're very, very proud of what I do, and like I'm so lucky to be able to have interviews with pretty much everybody whenever I want. It's really, really, really a lot of fun to see the guys being so happy for me for having a blossoming career in the media world. I don't have your career, but it's getting there.
You can always watch Yohann on RDS. You'll be covering the from the PGA National Fancy
Yeah,
Golf and
yeah, we're
Resort, where
right on the range. Yeah,
yeah, they're that's beautiful. It's going to be what, almost 30 degrees, ideal
yeah.
conditions, and they're
You get
tearing the course up too. Nice
yeah,
little.
you
We
get
saw Corey Connors earlier. He's off the course now. He's the top Canadian in the field, with still a lot of guys still to come off. The
yes,
first round
yes.
is underway.
The second round just started. The second wave.
Yeah,
So the afternoon wave for the viewers. So when the golfers get their tee times, you always get an afternoon tee time and a morning tee time. So whoever played
yeah,
this morning is playing tomorrow afternoon, and vice versa. So it's just a way of making it sort of equal for everybody. So guys who played this morning, if they weren't happy with their game, they're gonna work on it this afternoon, and then. Guys who played a lot of guys like to play late early though because it's always, especially in South Florida, it's always less windy in the morning, so usually by Friday afternoon the greens get pretty crusty out here and very fast.
mm,
So we'll see how it's going to go, but it's supposed to be a little bit overcast this afternoon and tomorrow, so hopefully I think we're going to have great scoring conditions. And then they made a change to the course. Number 10 used to be a really long par 4. They put it back to what it was for the members, a par 5. So Mark made an eagle on number 10 this morning. So instead of being a really long par 4, it's now a short par 5. So guys are really taking advantage of that.
I love it. You mentioned a couple of times Yohann Benson joining us from PGA National for the first round here for the Cognizant Classic, and you mentioned going to dinner with your boy Mark Hubbard. In that situation, what's the check situation, Yohann?
Well, Mark always owes me a dinner
Mm-hmm.
because my birthday is on December 18th and he forgets it every year. So on December 19th, every morning of December 19th, I'll send him a steak emoji. So he owes me a steak dinner. So we're probably gonna do that tonight or maybe tomorrow night, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm really happy he turned it around. He was one over
Yeah,
after 9, and then it's funny because the 9 he scored well is the 9 he didn't play so far this week because he only played the front 9 in the Pro-Am yesterday. Now they're doing this on the PGA Tour.
yeah,
There's one pro for 9 holes for the front 9 and a different pro for the back 9. So the amateurs that pay big money to play in the Pro-Am, they actually get to play with 2 players. And then it's fun for the
mm-hmm.
for the players on the, instead of like only 30 players seeing the course on Wednesday,
Yeah.
basically everybody gets to. So it helps with the practice and everything because you see the course the day before instead of 2 days before. So
Well, I'm looking at it now. He ripped up the back 9. We went 4 under on the
he
back
did.
shot,
He
32.
did. He did.
Three birdies and an eagle. He birdied 18 to come on in to shoot 68. So he's T22 after his opening round. And
Yeah.
listen, I mean, at Vedanta last week, what do you have, a 66 or a 65 back-to-back rounds.
Yeah.
Weekend wasn't so good for him, but his
He
Thursday, Friday rounds were electrifying.
he usually plays well here. He's got this is if you look at the scorecard, it's a long golf course, but because there's so
Yeah,
many lakes, there's so many ponds, uh, guys, everybody hits the ball to the same spot. Like if you look at the first hole, it's only 360 yards. Nobody hits driver on that hole because there's water left, and so everybody's laying up short of the bunker, and everybody has 140 yards into the green. So everybody plays the course the same way. So it really comes down to your. It's a second shot golf course, so you have to drive it in play. You have to hit it on the green, and but it's much easier around the green this year that it's been in the past. The rough is not long at all. It's not penalizing like it used to be.
yeah.
So it's a very user-friendly event. So we're going to see some good scores, especially if the wind stays down like it is now.
You're the man, Yohann. Thanks so much for the time and all the insight and the beautiful scenery for those that are watching on
Yeah,
YouTube today. What dreams are made of? I can't wait to be at the Kanawaki Golf Club driving range and live my best life once again. As soon as we get out, it's minus 22 again, Yohann. We had about a 25-degree change on Wednesday. It was 14 degrees. It's minus 22 today.
I saw that. In your case, it's called karma.
For what? You're the best, buddy. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
All right.